Recently, India, we have marked the first anniversary of Operation Sindoor. And when it comes to Operation Sindoor, it had been 1 year. And in this 1 year, we have seen lots of, geopolitical shifts that were there in the world, in the globe. Also, we have seen that there had been West Asian crisis where US and Israel, they have attacked and they have declared the war on Iran. There had been certain tactical dominance when it comes to the Iran, because Iran, even when it comes to the military capability, it is not at par with US or Israel. But still, Iran was able to sustain itself in the complete war. Now, all these things, they take me back to India again, because when it comes to India and Pakistan, the next warfare that will be there between India and Pakistan, so that will be a new era of the warfare, and we will see Operation Sindoor 2.0 that will be completely different from what it had been in the first Operation Sindoor. Now, this Operation Sindoor 2.0 is basically about the recent development in May 2026, which highlights a significant shift in the border security management. Following the Operation Sindoor, that is a rapid air dominance operation that we had the last year, all right, after the Pahalgam attack. At the same time, there is an iron paradigm as well, where the defense analysts, they are drawing parallel between the drone tactics which had been used in Iran conflict and the Pakistan's evolving asymmetric warfare strategy. So we have to see both the dimensions in a singular dimension as well. Now, when it comes to another important report on the occasion of the 1 year that we have, marked the completion of the Operation Sindoor. So, US had hailed that there had been India's rapid air dominance capabilities, and it marks a very important and paradigm shift from the traditional slow attrition warfare to the instant decisive strikes that we have shown during Operation Sindoor. Now, there had been an evolution of the complete India's military strategy. When it comes to 1999, there was Kargil War. And during Kargil War, high-altitude conventional warfare, there had been intelligence gap which were identified. Later on in 2001, we moved to the cold start, where the doctrinal shift was towards the rapid mobilization to deter any kind of escalation that could be there. In 2019, there were Balakot strike, where we have introduced the air power in the counter-terror operation, and this have redefined the red lines that are there between India and Pakistan. And also in 2026, all right, we have marked the 1 year of the Operation Sindoor. Now, 2026 is all about the total air dominance and the drone, electronic integrated warfare in the future. So when it comes to Operation Sindoor, you can see how rapidly there had been a mobilization, and this was 88 hours of the operation that have stunned not just Pakistan but the complete global atmosphere. All right, the trigger was the Pahalgam terror attack, and the standoff strike, the deep penetration precision strikes, they were there in the Pakistan at just after the 20th hour. All right, there were 9 of the Pakistani camps, the terror camps that were there in Pakistani territory, they were neutralized. Later on, at the R40, there was a drone swarm retaliation. Now, Pakistan have retaliated through the drones as well as missiles, and Pakistan deployed hundreds of the Turkish-made Asysguard Songar drones targeting 35 of the Indian military sites. They were intercepted by the integrated S-400 and as well the Akash missile, that is our air defense system. Later on, there was the decisive blow on 8th of May. The Indian Air Force jets and drones, they rampaged across the 11 of the Pakistan Air Force air bases, and ultimately the ceasefire was declared on the 10th of May. Pakistan have sued for the peace, and a psychological defeat cemented without any mass ground troop mobilization that we have seen in Operation Sindoor. There was no mass mobilization of the ground forces. Now, this is all about OODA loop. Now, what is OODA loop is? OODA is observe, orient, decide and act. Now, over here, what happened was that India was very fast in mobilizing everything. All right. And ultimately, when it comes to the adversary or the Pakistan, it was just at the phase of deciding, we have already acted. So the true objective of the Operation Sindoor, it was turning the observation, orient, decide and act cycle faster than the adversary. By the time Pakistan reacted, we were already executing the next step into the Pakistani territory. But now there is another report as well that Pakistani could be adopting the Iran model, and it could be moving towards asymmetric warfare. All right. Now, why this is there, or why Pakistan is moving towards asymmetric warfare? Because there are economic constraints. Now, when it comes to Pakistan, so the Pakistani economy is just 10% that of India. Also, there are asymmetric capabilities because Pakistani budget, defense budget is just 13% of what India's defense budget is. So over here, Pakistan is looking towards the Iran model. So basically, when it comes to the defense spending, so it is 9-1, and the power differential, it remains stubbornly narrow. All right, Pakistan is not as huge, even economically or in the case of the defense sector as well as India. All right, so over here, Pakistan compensates for its conventional weaknesses by investing heavily in the select asymmetric domains. All right, that is proxy terrorism that it is backing off. At the same time, there are drone swarms as well, and a new army rocket force had been built in 2025 that had been built along with the assistance with the Chinese army as well. Now, that is the reason that if the further or in future there is any war that happens between India and Pakistan, we must also move towards the revolution. The revolution is the drone and the electronic warfare revolution. That would be the technological frontier in the future. When it comes to swarm intelligence, so there could be coordinated UAV attacks overwhelming the complete traditional air defense forces which are there, and that we have seen in the case of Iran as well. Also, when it comes to the electronic warfare, there is that we have to move towards the electronic warfare as well, where ELINT should be the focus, that is jamming the GPS and even the communication links which are there. When it comes to the asymmetric advantage, so yes, asymmetric warfare, it has its own advantage because when it comes to drones, drones are not that much costly. They are low-cost drones, and when it comes to the interceptors, so they are quite costly. They have high cost that is there, and therefore asymmetric warfare has its own advantage, and also targeting the high-value assets without risking the human pilots is where India should be investing. And when it comes to the complete scenario, so you can see that there had been defense modernization trend that you can see between 2021 to 2026. Over you will see that when it comes to drone procurements, they have risen by 85%. At the same time, the electronic warfare kits, the complete growth can be seen at 70%. The conventional armor, that had slowed down, and there is 25%, and when it comes to the cyber defense research and development, there had been 60% of the growth in the India's defense sector. So you can see that we are shifting from heavy metals, that is the tanks, towards the heavy data or AI and electronic warfare in the Indian defense capital expenditure when it comes to the complete defense budget. All right, at the same time, when it comes to Operation Sindoor, so it was the rapid air dominance that was the Indian Air Force strategy that led us to a heavy winning, and also that the complete tide was in the favor of India. Now, Operation Sindoor had demonstrated that the efficacy of preemptive suppression of the enemy air defenses is very important, and by integrating the 4.5 generation fighters, that is Rafale, with the integrated AWACS that India have, we have achieved 100% airspace control within the first 120 minutes of the operation. So this is again very important role that the complete Indian Air Force dominance have played, because when you compare it with the 1971. So in 1971, the air superiority, it took 48 hours to establish. At the same time, right now, when it comes to the Operation Sindoor, it was just 120 minutes of the complete, superiority that we have established in between India and Pakistan. So again, this is the time that is very important when it comes to the modern warfare, and the maneuverability, the way you can, gather your complete defense forces, and also where you can, mark or you can strike at the first rate. That is what decides the complete tide of the war or the warfare in today's scenario. Now, this is a complete comparison between the conventional and the asymmetric warfare when it comes to the primary assets. So, in conventional or in the old warfare, there were the main battle tanks and the aircraft carriers, which were the major priorities. But in asymmetric war, it is the drone swarms as well as cyber attacks which had become the primary source of the attack. Then in the operational depth, so the conventional warfare was just about the border, or it was just a linear warfare that was fought on the borders or on the land. But now, when it comes to the asymmetric warfare, this is deep state or in the hinterland that there could be strikes and the regions they could be targeted. When it comes to a cost barrier, the conventional warfare, it was very high. All right. At the same time, when it comes to asymmetric, the cost is not that much high. It is low, and non-state actors, they can also afford using the asymmetric warfare as well. All right. Now, when it comes to the strategic pillars of the asymmetric warfare, the core pillars are the network centricity, where the real-time data sharing across all the three services is very important using the dedicated satellite links. And the second important core pillar is the agile IBGs or the integrated battle groups, where we have to move forward with the compact, self-sufficient units for the rapid border response. And these are the major core pillars. But at the same time, when it comes to the asymmetric warfare, it also possesses certain ethical dilemmas in the modern warfare as well. The first one is the killer robots. All right, the ethics of the autonomous weapon system or AWS, that whether should a machine decide on a human life, this is a very big question mark on the ethical aspects of the modern warfare. Also, when it comes to the use of the proxy drones to conduct the strikes, while denying the state involvement, there is the erosion of the accountability that is there. And how to ensure that the just war or just add Bellum principles in the world of invisible cyber or the drone strikes, so that has to be also looked after. So there are the ethical perspective to the complete modern warfare as well. Now, when it comes to the supreme art of the war, it is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Attack him where he is unprepared, appear where you are not expected. Attack him where he is unprepared and appear where you are not unexpected. So this is basically the supreme art of war. This is the line that I've taken from Sun Tzu. All right, Sun Tzu, the art of war, and it is applicable to the drone as well as electronic warfare doctrine as well. Now, it is very important that the modern interpretation is that when it comes to this complete code, it is fighting the war in the OODA loop of the enemy before the first bullet is fired, and ultimately that is the tactical advantage that any of the country will have when it comes to the modern warfare. Now, these are the certain reforms that could be done. The first one is that there should be integrated theater commands where seamless coordination should be between Army, Navy and Air Force. There should be a drone force command as well, where we have to create a specialized force service for the UAV and the swarm operations. And that has to be looked after in India with the priority. All right, when it comes to the civil-military fusion, that should be there, leveraging India's private IT sector. We have very robust IT sector that we have in India. So we can leverage that IT sector for the defense algorithms and for the AI as well. There is also cyber and the space readiness that we have to look forward for, and we have to protect the critical infrastructure from any of the electronic warfare or the cyber strikes, and also we could collaborate. So there should be global strategic ties where there should be collaborated tech development that we should look forward. All right, now if you have any questions, you can write it down in the comment as well. At the same time, I will just end the session by saying that the victory favors the prepared mind. And that is what we should look forward to, that we should be prepared for any of the adversaries that could come in front of India. That would be all in this video, but at the same time, if you are preparing for the civil services for 2027 and 2028 and looking for a lucrative optional, that could be covered within a very short duration of time, and you can master it properly, so you can enroll into the public administration optional batch for 2027-28. The classes will be starting from 15th of May, and you can use the code BRS Live for the maximum discount. Now we are closing the admission for the Resolution P2I GS Foundation batch. So if you have not enrolled into the GS Foundation Resolution P2I batch, this is the last chance that you have before 10th of May. So on 10th of May, the admissions are closing and you can enroll into the both batches. That is, if you are preparing for 2027, you can enroll for the 2027 batch. And if you are preparing for 2028, you can enroll in the 2028 batch. Now, again, for both the courses and even for any of the courses that you are purchasing on the StudyIQ platform, you can use the code BRS Live. That will fetch you the maximum discount on the platform. So that would be all. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me over here. Also, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any of the updates. So that would be all. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care and Jai Hind.